everybody. We have Mr. Dhruv Sharma with us. He's a feather in a cap. He scored 7.5 in IELTS with 8.5 in listening, 8.5 in reading, 6.5 in writing, 7 in speaking, and a very impressive score of 7.5 overall. Let's talk to Dhruv and about his examination. Okay, Dhruv, tell us something about yourself.
Hi sir, this is Dhruv Sharma. I have pursued IELTS recently with 7.5 bands overall, which is a decent score, and I feel overwhelmed. And right now I'm looking to pursue my further education in abroad in Canada. So my sister lives over there, and I want to pursue a digital marketing there because I feel it's quite lucrative.
Okay. Do you have any experience of digital marketing?
Not yet, but I will surely look up a course that will teach me and impart me all the knowledge related to that.
That is absolutely great. So Dhruv, let us talk about your examination, about your experience of the examination, what you went through, and some tips for our students. So let's talk about it. So Dhruv gave his exam on 6th of July 2023. It was IELTS academic module, and you are watching Exampecharcha episode number 18. If you haven't followed us on social media, I request you to follow us on a channel, webberzeducomplimited, where you're actually watching this show. We have this world-class blog, webbers.in/blog, and we've got this Instagram handle where you can find the latest things about all the international examinations across the world. Dhruv Sharma, first attempt, listening 8.5, reading 8.5, writing 6.5, speaking 7, overall 7.5. Congratulations, Dhruv. Very well done.
Thank you.
Okay, Dhruv, let us talk about your result card. This is your beautiful result card. We have hidden the details for privacy reasons. And as you can see, he scored absolutely excellent. Let's talk about his speaking. Dhruv, tell us everything about your speaking. Whatever you did, how was your experience? Anything you can tell our audience.
Okay. So my speaking was scheduled on the 2nd of July. So the examiner was South Indian, and he was not wearing a mask, but I was supposed to wear a mask, as I have been told earlier by the staff that was standing outside. So as soon as I just entered, I looked at his face and it was expressionless. So I felt a little jittery earlier, and then we just started the introduction part. He asked for my appellation, and then he started with the questions. It was a total mashup, like questions related to science, society, and accommodation. So it was quite tough, but I was able to cope up with it quick-witted. And second thing, when the cue card came, it was about a noisy place that I went recently and what was my experience over there. So I just gave the example of a visual that I attended recently, and I just talked for about 2.5 minutes, and he didn't let me stop before 2 minutes. So I felt that he might not be impressed by my speaking, so it was apprehensive. But at the discussion part, he gave me questions relevant to the cue card only, like what are the effects of noise on society, and what are the harms of noise, and what are the views of adolescents regarding creating noise. There were also 10 questions.
What was the overall level of speaking?
I would say it was tough because first, as I mentioned, that the examiner was expressionless, and secondly, he was asking me why it was a cross questioning. So I felt a little apprehensive.
Okay. So Dhruv, let us talk about speaking. What advice would you give to our audience for speaking?
Well, I would say that one should not run out of ideas, because it totally depends upon the examiner, that if he makes you speak over more than 2 minutes, and like most of the students, they just are able to speak for 1 minute and 1.5 hours. So I would say that try to speak more and more than 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes, so that you should not run out of ideas. Apart from this, you should grab the ideas from Google, and also wherever you are just learning your institution. You should have enough of ideas and vocab so that examiner gets impressed.
Examiner gets impressed. So let's talk about your next section. Our next section is writing. You completed your writing in 50 minutes, which is very impressive. And you had 2 tasks. So let us talk about the tasks. Tell us something about it.
Okay, so task 1 was about 2 bar charts that were comparing the marriage trends of men and women. One was scheduled in the year 1998, and another one was after a decade. So it was quite moderate because I have already done it earlier.
And what?
And the task 2, yes, task 2 was about high school students leaving their campus without learning how to manage their funds, and what are the possible reasons and solutions for this. It was quite tough because I also felt this, and also my companions were flabbergasted to see this, because the statement was quite a tricky, so they were confused with the funds and not with the financial education. But I was just able to cope up with it.
So overall level of the writing was moderate again.
Yes, it was.
Okay, Dhruv, you have done writing in 50 minutes. That is a very impressive thing because people are unable to complete even after 60 minutes. So tell us, what trick did you use to complete this in 50 minutes?
Actually, I had practiced writing in the 50 minutes only. So in my classroom, I also I used to sit alone and I did my writing. Apart from this, when I just came home, I also tried to attempt the essay too that was given in the question paper. So this helped me a lot and improved my writing speed. I just completed my essay in 30 minutes and task 2 in 20 minutes.
Lovely, absolutely great. Let's go to the next section, and the next section is listening. So these are the 4 things that you got in listening, and you scored an impressive score of 8.5. So let's talk about it.
So the part 1 was about fill-ups, and they were one word or a number type. And the question was about hiring a hotel room for a party. So it was quite easy because the listening was on a slow speed, on the normal speed. And if I would talk about part 2, they were alphabet based questions like MCQs, and the level was quite moderate because I was always having pitfalls in MCQs. But as soon as I read the questions, I was able to cope up with them. Part 3 was tough because there were MCQs as well as matching type questions. So again, MCQs came, so I felt quite Herculean to just solve them. And part 4 was easy. There were again fill-ups, and the questions were about some animals, and it was easy as they were one word.
So if I look into your listening, you had 2 easy parts, 1 moderate and 1 tough. So this makes the entire listening at a moderate level. We cannot call it an easy level. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So do you know where did you lose that 1 point because you scored 8.5 and not 9? So what was the doubt that you had?
I think it might probably come in the MCQ section only because I had a great deal. I had to just deal with it with difficulties in my institution also. But I feel that I am satisfied with this score because MCQs were my shortcomings.
So how did you overcome your shortcoming of multiple choice questions?
Well, I just attended some polishing classes and I was able to just grab what were the keywords that one has to look up, and also there were some tips and tricks that helped and worked a lot.
So basically your multiple choice question problem was overcome by practice.
Yes, sir.
Great. So let's talk about the last part, that is reading. And here we are. You completed your reading in 60 minutes and you got 3 parts of reading. So let's talk about every part in detail.
So the part 1 was about the history of chocolates, and I feel that it was easy because there were questions like fill-ups and true false not given. So I was easily able to get the questions and the locations. So I completed this part easily and also in a short span. But as soon as I shifted to part 2, it was tough. It was about the future of world languages, and there were questions like list of headings and writer's opinion. So I felt that it was tough and it took a great deal of time. So I didn't get much time to complete the part 3. And as soon as I just shifted, the questions were about some video games, I guess. And it was moderate because there was a summary and MCQ type questions and true false not given.
So if I talk about the overall reading, it would begin moderate. 1 was easy, 1 was tough, 1 was moderate. Okay.
Yes.
So you had 2 sections in which there were true false not given, which means the number of the true false not given questions must be about 12 or 13. Am I right?
They were about 10 questions because 5 were in the part 2 and 5 were in part 3.
5 were in part 2 and 5 were in part 3. So that's a very major chunk of the paper. So how did you complete your true false not given? What is the strategy that you used?
Well, there's a very basic strategy that one has to follow. If the question completely matches with the answer, like the statement, so it's true. But if there is one question, that one statement that is not matching or one word is missing, then it is assumed to be false. And it is a very narrow line that differentiates false and not given. I also had issues regarding this, but I attended some of the classes, extra classes, and I practiced more. So I think that practice is paramount.
Exactly. So Dhruv, wishing you all the best for your future endeavors, and God bless you. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.